Built it in. No time for the doubt, they counting me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse, mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like told me, keep on running, toes they gon' take them. Used to lose, built to win, applied myself, I felt it in. No time for the doubt, they counting me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win, applied myself.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back just to talk a little bit about yesterday. And I'm here also to talk about today. I got 4 games for y'all to watch today. But before I get started, I would like to ask that y'all leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. It helps the network. It helps the channel. It helps us grow. So please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe if you like the content on this channel, Carl Talking College, my YouTube channel by way of the Refuse to Lose Network. Also, man, if you like the content on the main show featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave, BWT Baseball with Teddy, FFC Fantasy Football with Coach Coombs, Kings Talk with Joe Jordan, which is coming on after me. He's here to talk about the Kings and Bulls last night. You got Dave's Doghouse. You know, he was on the show with me yesterday. You have Real Ballers Only featuring Vaughn, who was also on the show with me yesterday, who's celebrating a big dub. So am I. We'll talk about that later. We have In the Red Corner featuring Ty, Ricky, and Fast Camp. And I believe that is all the shows that the network has to offer so far. So please leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe and help us grow. And if you like what you're listening to, stick with us. Now, we have to talk about yesterday in college basketball. And yesterday, like I thought it was a great day for college basketball. I'm going to just go over a couple games. I'm not going to go too in depth because it's a lot of games last night. I'm going to just go pieces. I got like short notes. That's it. So we'll start with the first game of the day. UConn pulls away late at versus St. John's. Well, at St. John's, 77-64. Cameron Spencer had a day going with 23 points. Tristan Newton also had a day with 18 points, 10 boards, and 7 assists. Cam Spencer had a great night, especially with the absence of Alex Caravan. Wow, St. John's, Dennis Jenkins had a night with 19.6 assists, but Joel Soriano, he struggled yesterday. St. John's, for the most part, kind of struggled. I mean, first half, they came out on fire. I think they were even up 1 or maybe down 1 at halftime. They came out hot. Dennis Jenkins really came out hot, to be honest. He had a crazy 3 on the wing. But second half, UConn sunk in defensively. I think it was like midway through the second half or maybe even 3/4 of the way through the second half, and St. John's had 15 points in the second half alone. So defensively, UConn buckled down and pulled away. South Carolina survives the 3-point barrage that Georgia came out with in the first half to win 4 straight, winning at Georgia 72-62. Georgia came out hot from 3. Like, I was watching the game, they could not miss. They started off 7 of 10 from 3. In the first half, they were 8 of 18, I believe, from 3. Second half, they only hit 1 3-pointer. No, thanks. No, yeah, they hit 1 late. I think RJ Melendez hit 1 late. They only hit 1 in the second half. South Carolina buckled down defensively, went on a run, took the lead, and never looked back. Shout out to Josh Gray. Josh Gray with 15 points, 8 boards, and Colin Murray Boyles with 16 points, 5 boards. I think those were our 2 leading scorers. Josh Gray was just so active on the glass. Beachy Johnson and Talon Cooper both hit big shots, big threes. And I know BJ Mack's stats do not look great. He struggled yesterday against Georgia, but he was active. He was fighting hard. It's just shots were not falling. Free throws weren't falling. It was just one of those days. But he kept his head in the game. He was active. Now, Georgia was led by Jabri Abdul-Rahim with 20 points and Blue Kane with 11 points off the bench. He was a part of the 3-point bombing. He was 3 for 4, I think. from downtown. Blue Kane had a great first half. Kind of disappeared in the second half. I attribute that to South Carolina's defense. South Carolina was active on defense, causing turnovers, just getting out in breaks. South Carolina, like I said, now holds on to win 4 straight. And I will say it again, rank South Carolina. They should be ranked 19-3, 7-2 in conference play. Now beating 5th ranked Tennessee, 10th ranked Kentucky. They were 6th at the time, I believe, blowing Kentucky out. Now only losses in SEC play are to Bama, who's first in the SEC, and who's also ranked, by the way, and Georgia, which, again, I feel like that was due to the injury of Miles Studi in the game. But we have avenged that, beating them on the road. I believe that's a quad 1 win, too, if I'm not mistaken. Rank South Carolina. It'll be a travesty and injustice if South Carolina is not ranked tomorrow. Moving on. I put a little game that I didn't talk about yesterday. I threw one in there because I thought it was noteworthy. Penn State beats Indiana in Indiana, 85-71. I thought that was noteworthy because Indiana's a really good home team in the Big Ten. Penn State, they've struggled, but they seem to come on of late. Ace Baldwin, 22 points to VCU transfer. Zach Hicks with 19. Khalil Ware, 25 and 11 for Indiana. And Malik Renal with 16 points, but it wasn't enough. Penn State gets a huge road win in Big Ten play. So now move to 500 at 11 and 11. Texas upsets TCU 77-66 on the road. That was also an upset for me. I did pick TCU to win that game at home. Texas were led by Max Abmas with 21 points. Dylan Mitchell with 13 points and 11 boards, while TCU was led by 15 points by Emmanuel Miller and Avery Anderson with 13 points. Now, Jameer Nelson Jr. did not have a good game. I think he had 3, which was also a key reason why TCU lost. TCU was able to fight back in the second half, but Texas, man, every time TCU fought back, Texas had a counterpunch, and Texas won the game. Shout out my boy Vaughn in the comments. We move on to UVA hangs on to beat Clemson. UVA pretty much dominated this game until the second half. Clemson fought back, took the lead, and then it was back and forth. Shout out Ian Shefflin, man. I just watch Ian Shefflin play and just get so inspired by the way he plays the game. He's always going to give you 100% until he can't. He's gonna be active on the boards, active around the rim. He had a double-double, I believe. But UVA was led by Reese Beckman with 14 points. Jacob Groves with 17 points off the bench. And Clemson was led by P.J. Hall, 19.6 boards, and Joe Girard, 14 points. And yes, Vaughn, you are right. You were the one of the 3 of us who picked UVA. Man, if brothers hit the buzzer beater, Clemson missed the buzzer beater at the end of the game that would have won it. I think he rushed the shot. I think he took an early shot at the top of the key from 3. He could have. I don't think he had to settle for that. And I also think you got to get the ball in Joe Girard's hands. He's your best shooter. He's your best playmaker. You got to get the ball in his hands. With 7 seconds left when they inbounded it. So I think you got to get the ball in his hands. But hey, Clemson loses at home. UVA holds on and escapes. Kansas dominates Houston. Dominates Houston. I don't even know if Houston had the lead. It was ugly from the jump. Kansas wins 78-65. Hunter Dickinson with 20 points, 8 boards. Kevin McCullough, 17.7 boards. Again, doing it all. The key play for me, well, not even key play, just the play I remember so vividly. Kevin McCullough going down to help to blow up, I believe he blowed up a screen defensively. Then he recovers to get back to his man, and he plays the passing lane and gets it steal for an open, I believe he dunked it. I think he dunked it. So it's just plays like that, man, that just show I love Kevin McCullough for. But yeah, Houston was led by LJ Cryer with 24 points, Jawan Roberts with 11 points and 13 boards. Jamal Shead had like 9 assists, 7 and 9. I remember also another play, man, when Houston, I believe they created a turnover. Jamal Shead is in the fast break for an open layup, and he just smoked it. No contest, no nothing, he just smoked it. And that kind of indicated the kind of day it was going to be for Houston. Moving on, we have UCF dominates Oklahoma in an upset win. Oklahoma was 23rd ranked in the country. shout out my boy Bud. They are no joke. I picked them preseason and I just picked them to win it all. And I'm not even a fan of Kansas for real, but I think them and UConn are the top 2 teams in the country. I'll throw North Carolina in that mix as well. Want to talk about North Carolina in a second. I think North Carolina is also in that mix of teams that can win it all. And yeah, we talked about it on the show yesterday. Allen Fieldhouse is a huge home court advantage. But UCF dominates Oklahoma in an upset win, 74-63. Jalen Sellers with 20 points and Antoine Jones with 15. Javion McCullum, I put him up here because he struggled from the field, only 8 points. He struggled yesterday against UCF. Again, I said UCF can play some defense, and they played really good defense yesterday. Latrey Darthard off the bench, I believe, had 14 points. UCF picks up a huge win at home. Johnny Dawkins, hey, he's not doing too bad his first year in the Big 12, man. Got to shout out Johnny Dawkins. We move on to Richmond. Richmond suffers its first loss in A10 play to VCU yesterday. I know me and Vaughn both picked Richmond, I believe, to beat VCU. I know I did for sure. We both picked Richmond to beat VCU. And VCU and Richmond was a low-scoring game at first, 20-18 at halftime. Ultimately, VCU pulls away. They kept Richmond at bay, 63-52. VCU was led by Max Shoga with 15 points, 5 boards, and Kwane with 15 points and 6 boards, while Richmond was led by Jordan King with 12 points and Delaney Hunt with 12 points. But what killed Richmond, and I put it as a note, Richmond had 0 bench points, none. Got nothing from his bench. That's going to kill you every time in a game, especially a game of this magnitude. VCU is a really good ball club. Richmond's a really good ball club. I think VCU is at the top of the A10 as well. Can't have 0 bench points. That's unacceptable. Shout out my boy Kev. Hey, man. Hey, march around the corner. We got UNC dominates, and I mean truly dominates Duke at home and Chapel Hill, 93-84. UNC was led by Armando Bacot, 25 points, 10 boards. Harrison Ingram, 21 points, 13 boards. Way to show out your first game against Duke. Harrison Ingram was on fire first half. Armando Bacot was so active. Armando Bacot, man, I'll say this. It was times where he was gassed because the intensity and the pace of play was so back and forth, and it was like no whistles. Like, it was a point when we was watching the game, and I said that was like they went under 2 TV timeouts. That is insane. I've only probably seen that once in my life, and I don't remember the game, so don't give me the line about the game. But I believe I was in college and I was watching, and they went under 2 TV timeouts. It was insane. To go under 2 TV timeouts, I would understand if anybody is gassed, because TV timeouts, if you don't know, if you're new here, they after the start of the half, it goes every 4 minutes. It's a TV timeout. So if a foul or out of bounds or whatever stops play under 16 minutes, TV timeout. Under 12 minutes, TV timeout. Under 8 minutes, TV timeout. Under 4 minutes, TV timeout. It was after the 16-minute TV timeout in the first half. It went past the 12-minute TV timeout, no calls, and past the 8-minute TV timeout. I think it was like 7 minutes and some change when we finally had a break in the action due to a call. So they played almost 8 minutes or 8+ minutes with no stopping. That is hard to do. So if anybody was gassed, I don't put it past them. I don't care how conditioned you are. That is hard to do. 8 minutes of nonstop play. By the way, yes, UNC's defensive intensity was high yesterday. Duke was making some tough shots too. Jeremy Roach hit a couple big buckets. I didn't even get into who led Duke. Jared McClain led Duke with 23 points, 11 boards, while Kyle Flipkowski had 22 for Duke yesterday. Duke played well. It's just UNC played better, and UNC was at home. They had the home crowd behind them. Harrison Ingram was tough to guard. Elliot Cadeau had to settle down in the first half, which he did. Cormac Ryan hit a couple timely buckets. It was just a tough day at the office for Duke. UNC wins. I tend to agree with you, Kev. Let's see here. Duke was like, yeah, pretty much they were outmatched. Yes, UNC is a complete team. That's why I throw them. That's why I said I'll throw them in there with Kansas and UConn, with teams that has potential to win it all. Let's see here. I got to get my college ball parlays up. Have no idea who to put the bag on. Hey, man, just hit me, hit Vaughn, hit us up, man. We got you. UNC was clearly the better team. Yes, sir. They definitely were. And I don't understand this. Oh, I get it now. Okay, cool. By the way, Joe, you need to tune in to Wake Forest. Wake Forest is a pretty good ACC team. They blew out Syracuse yesterday. Pretty good ACC team. I told you. I think I told you earlier. Wake Forest might be actually pretty good. I don't know if you've been watching, but you need to tune in, man. Tune in to Wake Forest. Cincy, another team doing pretty good in the Big 12 their first year. They get an upset win over Texas Tech on the road, 75-72. Cincy was led by Simon Lukosis, 16 points, and Dan Skillings Jr., 14.7 boards off the bench, while Texas Tech was led by Pipe Isaacs and Robert Jennings, 14 points, 6 boards. Huge win by Cincy. And yeah, man, Cincy They came back and beat UCF, I believe, last Saturday. I want to say that was last Saturday, and get a huge win against Texas Tech on the road this Saturday. Since he's putting together a pretty nice resume in his first year in the Big 12. South Florida, me and Vaughn both picked North Texas to win this game. But I left with a message saying I really like South Florida's basketball team this year. They fight hard. They got pieces. They play defense. They got guys who can score. And South Florida on the road beats UNT to keep pace as top of the American Conference, 60-55, led by Chris Youngblood, 16 points, and Keyshawn Pryor's 9 points, 12 boards. Now for North Texas, Jason Edwards, the bucket that he is, 31 points, and John Buggs with 8 points, 2 of 3 from 3. Again, you can't leave that man open. He's almost automatic from three-point land. But North Texas only had 6 bench points. North Texas, CJ Nolan did not play for North Texas. So that really hurt North Texas in that game against South Florida. But like I said, man, South Florida keeps pace to be number 1 in the American Conference. Also, man, speaking of it, since it's not on my paper, but I do want to talk about it just slightly. Memphis, man, Memphis did not go on that 4-game skid when they lost to some questionable opponents, including Rice. The American would be a log jam. It's already a log jam at top with 3 teams, I believe, tied with FAU, Charlotte, and now South Florida. Memphis is dropping the ball. They did rebound yesterday and needed a David Jones buzzer beater to beat Wichita State yesterday after JQ hit a huge 3 to go up 1. Wichita State split at the line after JQ hit the 3 to tie the game, and David Jones, like I said, came down, hit a buzzer beater to win it. But Memphis, man, they dropped the ball. They were huge favorites to win the American since Houston is now left and went to the Big 12. But I think it's not them necessarily dropping the ball, even though they did lose to some questionable opponents. It's the fact that Caleb Mills got hurt and they lost to the question. It sucks, man. They lose Caleb Mills for the year. They go down. They don't look the same. They did get Naquan Tomlin in the transfer portal midway through the season because of the whole situation with K-State. But, yeah, it just sucks losing Caleb Mills. But the American Conference is really good. Houston leaving did not affect them at all. Normally it's just Houston dominating that conference anyway. So, good to see some parity there. Where did I leave off? We have MSU. MSU dominates. I mean, it didn't look like it throughout the game because we was always only up like 1 to 2 possessions. But Maryland only had the lead for 13 seconds. Maryland got the lead. We came right back down, ran a little pick and roll, had a little and threw a oop to, I believe, Maddie Sissoko, took the lead right back, never looked back. Maryland only led for 13 seconds. But the thing that killed me was Maryland only led for 13 seconds, but they were in the game due to 3 players. Literally only 3 players scored for majority of the game until Jahari Long, hit a free throw late in the game, hit 2 free throws. And those 3 players were Jameer Young, who finished with 31, Dante Scott, who finished with 13 and 10, and Jordan Geronimo, who I think we had like a dunk or something around the rim. But MSU pulled away late, wins 63-54 against Maryland. Now wins 6 straight against Maryland. Now I believe 7-2 at home against Maryland. Tyson Walker had 19 points, including some key buckets late in the game to ice the game. Malik Hall, 19.7 boards. After the oop to Sissoko, Malik Hall hit a big 3, hit some free throws, got a bucket. I think he scored 7 straight to pull away. Malik Hall had a phenomenal game. Tyson Walker had a phenomenal first half with 12 points. Now Should have finished with over 20. He did miss a layup late in the first half, and he did miss 2 free throws late in the first half. But, hey, he hit his average. That's all that matters. MSU, so MSU wins there. Now moves to 14-8, 6-5 in the Big Ten. By the way, Kev, I don't know if you're a U fan in basketball, but hey, the U nice in basketball too. They got a big win against Virginia Tech yesterday. Matthew Cleveland hit some huge shots. Nigel Pack. Virginia Tech's no slouches. They got a nice win against Virginia Tech at home. Memphis, I think sometimes I think that you're gonna get that with college basketball in general though. I think that's the Caleb Mills. He's a big part of Memphis. Nice. I mean, I don't like using the word veteran in college, but I really cannot come up with another word. So a nice veteran in college basketball. Hey, man, I just try every day, man. That's all, man. I watch and I try to learn and try to regurgitate what I see to y'all, man. I wouldn't go that far. And yes, Joe, you are absolutely right. I think, you know what I really think it is, though, Joe? I think ever since Mark Turgeon left the program and their new head coach, Kevin Willard, took over, Izzo just got his number. Because Mark Turgeon used to give me fits when he was coaching at Maryland. And now that he's gone, I get some of those fits, but it's not the same. It really isn't. Kev, hey, drop Maryland. Hey, drop Maryland, B. Just stick to the U right now. Don't worry about Maryland. And the two people, if they're here, they know why I'm saying that. But we move on to Indiana State takes control of the Missouri Valley Conference. They beat Drake 75-67. Indiana State is now 10-1 or 11-1 in Missouri Valley Conference play. I did have Indiana State winning. The Missouri Valley. Really tough team. Sycamore, shout out Larry Bird again. Ryan Conwell with 21 points and 7 boards, and Robbie Avila, the bucket that has gone viral earlier in the year, with 20 points and 11 boards. Now, Tucker DeVries, he's just a bucket. He's just going to get you a bucket. 26 points for Drake, and Kevin Overton with 13 points. Indiana State came out hot. Looked like it was going to be a blowout early. Drake fought back, and then Indiana State will pull away, then Drake will fight back, and then Indiana State just pulls away to win it. So shout out Indiana State to take control of the Missouri Valley. We have Baylor. Baylor wins Baylor, Iowa State was probably game of the night. Game of the night last night. Baylor wins a tough one at home against Iowa State, 70-68. Literally came down to the last few seconds. If Milosevic can get that shot off 0.3, 0.5 seconds earlier, we will have a different winner. I know I picked Iowa State to win that game. And they had a chance late. Baylor's Jaden Nunn hits the game-winning layup. It was an and one, but he missed the free throw. So let's talk about the end of this game. So Jaden Nunn tied 68-68. He goes down, hits the layup, and one. Misses the free throw. The Baylor whoever starts the clock, it was a time issue, didn't start the clock fast enough, gives Iowa State an extra timeout. Iowa State has no timeouts, but due to the clock issues, they get a free timeout. Inbounds the ball, passes to Milosevic. He does not get the shot off in time. It was good. It was good from half court, off the glass, good, but not in time. Iowa State loses. Baylor wins 70-68. So Baylor was led by Ray J. Dennis, 18.7 boards, and Jaden Nunn with 16 points, including the game winner, while Iowa State was led by Keyshawn Gilbert, 24 points, and Milan Milosevic, 10 points, potentially the 13th if he got that shot off in time, but he did not. Iowa State played great defense to start the game. They just could not score. And when I mean they couldn't score, I mean they couldn't score anything, missing bunnies, missing layups, missing all that. Just could not get the ball in the basket while Baylor was hitting shots, but the defense allowed them to come back in the second half. Baylor was up as much as like 15. Iowa State comes roaring back, takes the lead. Then they go up like 4. Baylor comes back due to Ray J. Dennis, the Toledo transfer. Ray J. Dennis had an absolutely monster game. They gave player of the game to Jaden Nunn for the buzzer beater. I thought player of the game should have went to actually Ray J. Dennis. He had a huge 3 up 1 to put him up 4. But just a great back and forth game by Iowa State and Baylor. And we move on to Tennessee and Kentucky. Tennessee, in my opinion, dominates. They dominate Kentucky 103-92. Tennessee was led by Josiah Jordan-James with 26 points and Zakai Ziegler with 26 points and 13 assists. It's just a great game from the point guard at Tennessee. Rob Dillingham went stupid off the bench. 35 points for Kentucky, and Antonio Reeves put in 21 points to transfer from Illinois State with him. Rob Dillingham is just crazy. He's just a shot maker. He's a shot creator. Rob Dillingham is just tough. Point blank, period. He's the real deal. He's a guy that came in with a lot of talk, and he's lived up to it so far. 35 off the bench is crazy. But I do want to talk about the end of that game because the reason why Tennessee has 100 points is because Cal kept fouling down 9, down 10, down 8 with like 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 40 seconds. I'm like, bro, the game is over. Just let it go. You're down 9, 10, 8. You're not coming back, bro. All you're doing is boosting Tennessee stats. Let the game go. Keep fighting. Save the fight for next game. But he kept fouling. Tennessee gets over the 100-point barrier. And Kentucky still loses. So shout out Tennessee, man. Bounce back win after losing to South Carolina. The fighting Q-Zips, as a lot of people call us. Losing to South Carolina at home, 63-59. They come back, beat Kentucky at their house in Rupp Arena, 103-92. And the last game I have to talk about from yesterday, St. Mary's versus Gonzaga. I came on here with Vaughn, and I told y'all now is the best time as ever for St. Mary's to beat Gonzaga at the Kendall. And St. Mary's hangs around in late game, makes a push to beat Gonzaga 64-62. 62 was off of a buzzer beater layup that, it counted, but it didn't matter. It was 64-60 when he made it. But St. Mary's hangs around and beats Gonzaga for the first time since 2018 in the WCC Conference Championship game. Oh, Vaughn, yes, it was definitely a great game. I fought to watch it. I stayed up. It was a great game. Aiden Mahaney, 20 points. Josh Jefferson, the big three, 16 points, 11 boards. Gonzaga was led by Ryan Nembhard, 18 points, and Anton Watson, 16 points and 10 boards. Earlier in the game, man, Gonzaga came out hot. I think they went up like a 14-7 or something like that. Then St. Mary's would come back, take the lead. There was just a nice back and forth from there. Gonzaga, I think, would only be up like 1 at halftime. Gonzaga, the Kendall was rocking. Gonzaga was feeding off the energy. But Aiden Mahaney would hit big buckets. Josh Jefferson would hit big buckets. Augustus Milosevic would hit big buckets. And Saxon, oh my God. Why am I messing up the big fella name, man? And it's pissing me off. Is it Mitchell Saxon? I think it's Mitchell Saxon. He would hit a couple big buckets down low. St. Mary's, like I said, gets his first win in 5 years. 5 years and some change. Almost 6 years. Like I said, since the WCC championship. Now, I thought Logan Johnson was on that St. Mary's team. I was like, oh, was it Logan Johnson? No, he wasn't there yet. He was at Cincy. He transferred the next year. But that was the St. Mary's team with Tommy Kuzi, Jordan Ford, Malik Fitz. I don't know if anybody remember Malik Fitz, but, man, that St. Mary's team was actually really good. And I think this St. Mary's team is really good. Now, still undefeated in WCC play, 2-game lead. Really 2.5-game lead in the WCC. Right below them is Gonzaga. I believe San Francisco is right below them. Really, really huge win by the St. Mary's Gales. St. Mary's looking poised to win the WCC regular season. Now that tournament time, WCC tournament, hey, one game you out of there, so you got to see that. But I got 4 games for y'all to watch today. It's no football. Again, I'll say it again. Nobody's watching that Pro Bowl. Sorry, not sorry. So 4 games for y'all to watch today. The first one, a banger. 2 ranked top 10 Big Ten teams. Number 2, Purdue at number 6, Wisconsin. As you can see, Purdue is 2.5 points. Favored it on the road against Wisconsin. 1 o'clock on CBS. Purdue is led by Zach Edey, the All-American candidate. He's averaging 23.4 points per game, 11.6 rebounds per game, and 2.3 blocks per game. Lance Jones, 12.7 points per game, and Braden Smith, 12.1 points per game, 7.5 assists per game, and 5.4 boards per game. Players off the bench include Mason Gillis and Caleb First. while Wisconsin is led by A.J. Storr, the St. John's transfer, who's having a phenomenal year, averaging 16.5 points per game. Stephen Crawl, 11.4 points per game and 7.8 boards per game, the big fella. And Tyler Wall, averaging 11.2 points per game and 5.6 boards per game. Now, bench players for Wisconsin, we have John Blackwell and Connor Esigian. My pick for today, I'm gonna just go through these. I got Wisconsin. Wisconsin at home, coming off of a folding of a game against Nebraska. I mean, they folded up 15 plus. Since 2000, Wisconsin was 120-0, up 15 plus at half. No, I did not research that. I remember seeing that stat at halftime and at the end of the game because they kept blowing it up like a mug. So finally takes the L. Nebraska come back and wins in overtime. I think that game was a wake-up call that they need. Purdue coming off of a close win to Northwestern. Some people questioned it because they said Purdue got a couple questionable calls. Purdue had like 40-something free throws to Northwestern's 8 free throws. A lot of people said they should have lost that game. Wisconsin got the big fellas down low. Wisconsin plays defense as well. Got guard play, can play defense, can disrupt an offense. I'm going to take Wisconsin in this one at home as the home dogs. So, yeah, I'm going to take Wisconsin. The next game I got for y'all, UAB at SMU. A great American League Conference game. UAB is led by Eric Gaines, 12.5 points per game, 9.4 boards per game. Wrong one. 4.9 assists per game. I read the wrong person's stat. 4.9 assists per game for the LSU transfer. Yaxel Lindenborg, 12.3 points per game and 9.4 boards per game. That's what I have 9.4. Alejandro Vasquez, 10.9 points per game and 3.4 boards per game. Bench players include Daniel Ortiz and Christian Coleman. SMU is led by my guy, one of my favorite point guards in the American League, Zurich Phelps, 14.6 points per game. Chuck Harris, the transfer out of Butler, 13.1 points per game and 3.4 assists per game. And Samuel Williamson, 9 points per game and 7.4 boards per game. Their key bench players are Jalen Smith and Ricardo Wright. And for that, I battled back and forth in my head. But UAB has been on a heater, and I'm going to take UAB to win this one as well. I think UAB's been on a heater, coming off the win against North Texas in overtime. I think they beat SMU on the road and can keep that hot streak going. I think they took a slug to Tulane in between like their little streak or whatever, but I think UAB has been playing great basketball. I think they get SMU out the paint today. That game's at 6 o'clock. The next game I have for y'all, there we go. Let's see, Purdue going to kill them on the glass, which I think will be Wisconsin. I don't know about that, Vaughn. I don't know. I think Tyler Wall and Stephen Crawl and those guys can box out Zach Edey and the guys. I think they'll do just fine on the glass, but I'm not mad at you for thinking that. I just think Wisconsin coming off that huge loss, I think that's a wake-up call. And I think they get Purdue out the paint. But that's just my opinion. Providence at Villanova, -4.5. Villanova is favored by 4.5 points. 6 o'clock on FS1. Providence is led by Devin Carter, 18.7 points per game, 8.1 rebounds per game, and 3.4 assists per game. The transfer out of South Carolina. He left because Frank Martin left. Sad, but hey, we had that bad year last year. We have a great year this year. Josh Oduro, the big fella I was talking about on the show yesterday, 15 points per game and 6.8 boards per game. Jaden Pierre, 9.1 points per game and 3.2 assists a game. And their bench players include Garvey Dual and Rich Barron. And that's because, as y'all know, they lost Bryce Hopkins for the year, the ACL tear. Get well soon, Bryce. Villanova is led by Eric Dixon, 16 points per game, 6.5 rebounds per game. Justin Moore, 10.8 points per game, and TJ Bomba, 10.6 points per game. Their key bench players are Hakeem Hart, the transfer from Maryland, and Khalil Ware, the transfer from Kentucky. I think in this one, I wanna pick Villanova, but I think I'm going with another road dog. I think I'm going to take Providence in this matchup. Providence is a really good, really well-coached team. Cal Neptune, I don't know. I'm not sold on Cal Neptune as yet as a coach. I think I'm going to roll with Kim English and the Providence Friars on the road. really solid team. Devin Carter is a really great player. I know Villanova plays better than they do at home, than they do on the road, and this is a home game for Villanova. But I think the X factor in this is going to be the coaching. I think Kim English is a better coach than Kyle Neptune. He's already shown to me he's a better coach than Kyle Neptune, in my opinion. So I'm going to roll with Providence in this game as 4.5-point road dogs. Now, the last game I have for y'all, Nebraska at Illinois. 6:30 on Big Ten Network. Nebraska, like I said, coming off that huge win against Wisconsin at home. Now they're going against Illinois on the road. Nebraska is led by Renick Mass, 13.6 points per game, 8.4 boards per game, and 3.1 assists per game. While Bryce Williams, 3.3 points per game, 5.6 boards per game, and 2.6 assists per game. And Kasai Tomananga, 13.1 points per game, the bucket of, I call him the Asian bucket. Bench players include C.J. Wilcher and Sam Hoiberg. Illinois is led by Terrence Shannon Jr., 20.1 points per game. Marcus Domax, 15.5 points per game, and Coleman Hawkins, 11.6 points per game and 6.3 rebounds per game. Bench players are Luke Good and Justin Harmon, the transfer out of Utah Valley State, which, man, last year's Utah Valley State, I loved their team last year. I thought they should have won the WAC. They blew a lead, which blew my parlay against Southern Utah last year. Blew my parlay. That was like literally the only leg. They was up. I was celebrating, and then they blew the game. Then they blew like a 15, 16-point lead with like 8 minutes left, and it hurt me, not only for the parlay, but for the team. I really liked the team last year. But anyway, y'all not here for that. The team I think will win against in Nebraska, Illinois, I'm going to roll with Illinois because they're the home team. Nebraska is like Villanova. They play different at home on the road. I feel like Illinois has too much. I don't think it'll be a blowout or anything. I think 9.5 points is a little bit too much in my opinion, but I'm going to roll with Illinois at home to get the dub. And that's all I have for y'all today. Had fun. The great college basketball weekend. Kings Talk is up next. I believe maybe in like 10, 15 minutes. Please make sure to tune in to Kings Talk with Joe Jordan. Again, he will be going over the Kings versus the Bulls. I'm assuming. He didn't tell me. I'm just assuming because they played last night. I'm not going to spoil what happened. You listen to Joe to find out what happened, his insight on the game, how we feel, what he feels should have happened or should have happened, or how he felt about the things that happened. But, yeah, I don't know when I'll be back. If South Carolina's ranked, I might just come back and do a South Carolina ranked episode tomorrow. But if not, I don't know. Appreciate it, my boy. I appreciate it. I don't know yet. So we'll see how these rankings come out tomorrow, whether I'll be back for sure tomorrow or not. But, again, just enjoy Kings Talk, and I'm gone after I find this intro. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.